Welcome to the College of Wealth podcast, the ultimate financial guide to help you understand your financial stresses and how you can build from it. Your lessons won't be in class, and your projects can either save you or earn you money. We host episodes 2 times a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays to help you reach your financial freedom. Now let's get started with your hosts, Owen, Paradis, and William Goulet.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. My name is Owen Paradis. I'm here with my co-host, William Goulet, and we're proud to present you the College of Wealth podcast.
Podcast.
Yes, Will, I like that because this is a financial podcast that teaches you the latest and greatest information about money. Because at the end of the day, this is a crazy money-making world.
Well, let's break that down for a second. Is the world crazy? Probably crazier than some other times, but not as crazy as it could be. Is the world money making? No doubt. No doubt.
Hands down. Hands down.
So you know what? I think you're right. I'll say you're correct in your assessment of the world. Crazy money making world.
Well, I'm glad you agree with me on that one, Will. And because it's a financial podcast, we do like to go and say that this podcast is for entertainment purposes only.
Yes,
it's
and
really meant to.
I do have something else about that.
Okay, yeah.
So the entertainment purposes I like because, well, it's fun, you know.
Yeah.
And it's also a disclaimer and all that, but I think that it minimizes the actual the valuation of the info that we give, and we give pretty good info.
For sure.
So I'm thinking, let's include that part of our as part of our pitch. I'm thinking something like informational and entertainment, and this is just a new word, but I was thinking we could do something like infotainment. What do you think?
That rolls off the tongue well. I like it.
Yeah,
really
exactly.
Good. Really good. I like that. So I agree with you, Will, 100% here, because we do at the College of Wealth podcast like to call it infotainment, because both Will nor myself are not financial advisors here.
Certainly not me anyways, Owen.
I'm not either by any means here.
Well, true.
But we do have our bachelor's degrees in business, and we do have like a background in business. I work finance, Will works marketing,
which is to say
that
our passion for the subject at hand is valid. Now, not just valid in any way, valid in the Gen Z way, with the check mark emoji beside it.
It is true. I could not agree more with that. It is true.
Our intro is getting more and more ridiculous by the day sometimes, man. My favorite one is the one where I wouldn't get along with it, and you were just there like, oh my God, finish the intro already.
It took you 2 minutes to go and say your point.
Yeah, I think it was for the infotainment part, you know?
Yeah, literally it was for the infotainment there. But we also have 2 other reasons why we do this podcast. And we do actually have 2 other reasons why.
I know. I'd like to jump in if I could.
Okay.
Well, you know, we like to save money.
Yeah.
And saving money is what we do. It's what we learn about. It's what we teach about. But at the same time, the opposite is true. You know, if you can't save money, how do you increase your net worth? You earn money. So that being said, we love to earn money.
The way you said that made it sound like you just had a text-to-speech there. We like to earn money.
I'm more than willing to become the next TikTok text-to-speech. You know, I just charge a low royalty. Dirt cheap, I'm telling you.
I liked it. Well, I like it because I
want 0.00001% of the U.S. Common Fund, and if I can have that, I'll take it, man.
There we go. Very well, very well. But today's episode, we got to go and talk about episode 127. I'm going to go and change things up a little bit here. I'm going to make you guess, Will, what the topic is going to be today, off of the statistics that we're going to be talking about.
Oh, okay. So I do get a bit of a hint. That's good.
Yes. So the, without further ado, we're going to go and talk about episode 120, the stats.
Statman, of course. Of
course. And then we're going to talk about the format of the episode afterwards.
Yes, okay.
So our first stat, what percentage of people have been buying more online since the pandemic? This is according to C+R research.
Okay, I'm going to do a rough estimate that the average person buys, maybe 10% would naturally go there. Maybe another 40% were scared to go out, so they increase their purchases for that reason. I'm going to say 70% of people, no, 85% of people purchase more online.
You should have stuck 71%.
71% of people have been. Just don't tell me. We'll just say we'll move on.
Secondly, our second stat: what percentage of BNPLs are purchased or used by Gen Z or millennials?
Okay,
this is according to Lending Tree.
BNPL is.
It's a BNPL. Take a guess. Take a guess.
Okay, I'll just take a guess. Gen Z, what? You'll have to ask that again. What percentage of BNPLs?
BNPLs are used by Gen Z and millennials?
25%.
Other way around, 75%.
Oh, I was so close, man.
So BNPLs are very, very trendy right now. And I guess I'll go and tell you what a BNPL is, just for the reference. Buy now, pay later.
Oh, okay. Oh, my goodness. 75?
75% of people of people who use BNPLs are Gen Z and millennials, according to Lending Tree.
Oh, okay. 75% of the BNPL users are Gen Z and millennial. That makes more sense. Okay. Whew.
Our third stat... There's an estimated how many people who use BNPLs how many people use BNPLs worldwide?
Percentage wise or total amount. I'm gonna say 40%. No, 15%. 10% of the global population. So 700 million people.
Good guess. 360 million.
Oh, okay, 5%. 5% of the world is. I can digest that.
Well, in the next 5 years is expected to go up to 900 million by 2027.
Whoa, triple.
This is according to Juniper research.
My goodness, that tripling is really big for 5 years.
And last but not least, our last stat is: what is the top reason for people to be using BNPLs or buy now pay later systems?
Okay, biggest reason. I'm gonna say a logical answer, but I know it's not right. It's 0% interest, so it's a no-brainer to do it, and just to keep your money as long as possible.
Wrong.
Yeah, of course.
It's because people can't afford the item. It's out of their budget. That is the number one reason why people use BNPL systems. And that's actually, according to the survey by bankrate.com, 44.98% of people have indicated that they use BNPLs because it's out of their budget.
So they're using it as a credit option.
Correct.
They're saying, I can't afford it, therefore they'll let me do it this way. Okay, I'll figure it out next week.
Oddly enough, the second most common answer was so they didn't have to use their credit card.
Oh, there's been a trend of that.
Avoid credit card interest.
There's been a trend of that where people think that credit cards are enemies. That it's the worst thing in
We've
the world.
We've gone so long with this here, saying that it's a tool that can be used if you know how to use it correctly.
Yes, that's a good summary.
So so those are our stats for today's episode. Did you want to take a wild guess on what today's episode's about, Will?
Yes. So
you better not say something ridiculous like 0% interest payments or something like that.
Why would I guess that as a whole topic? The topic for today's episode is 0% interest payments. So you can get it from banks, you can get it from BNPL companies. Okay, my guess is if here are 4 things to avoid if using a BNPL service.
Pretty good guess. And today's episode 127, is Buy Now, Pay Later. How you can benefit properly from it.
Oh, that's even better. Yeah.
Now, we are going to be talking mostly about it. And the formatting, I'm going to say it flat out. And I got to give a shout out here to sociable.co. And it's a bit of an apology beforehand, because I literally wrote the formatting of this episode, and they are literally exactly the same formatting for their article.
Okay. Oh, okay. It sort of follows along.
Yeah. So the way I have it is I have it into 4 different sections: the good of BNPLs, the bad of BNPLs, and the ugly of BNPLs. And their article.
You had it as an original idea, and then you looked at that, and you're like, it's the same thing.
Yeah, they literally have an article called "The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly of Buy Now, Pay Later."
That's pretty funny.
Oh, come on. So I was like, I'm not stealing their information or anything like that, but I just want to give them credit because they do have good information. And of course, our last section is how to actually properly use BNPLs to your benefit.
Well, you know what? I appreciate you giving them credit because, you know, they beat you to it, I guess.
Yeah.
You guys had the same idea, but they beat you to it. First to market.
Exactly. And before jumping into this episode, I also want to give a little bit of a shout out to our other platforms. Make sure to give us a 5-star review on Apple or on Spotify. It would be greatly appreciated. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to us, give us a like. Really would help us out there. And if you are a social person, go and check us out on TikTok or Instagram. We have a lot of different content on there on a regular basis. So please make sure to go and check out the College of Wealth podcast.
You know, it takes me a lot not to jump in on that, but I think it goes so much quicker if I just zip it.
We've gotten pretty good at it there.
Yeah, that's true.
So our first segment of this episode is going to be the good of BNPLs, because there are some good sides about buy now, pay later systems.
True.
And the first one is the most obvious thing, and you've said it before. You can make interest-free payments over months, years to buy more expensive things.
Yes.
Which is great.
What would be the incentive for a company to do that?
Are you speaking of
a company
to offer this the system, or a company to buy into this?
A company to offer it.
Oh, well, the most obvious thing is so they can tailor to a bigger market who can afford.
Increase sales.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, we're going to talk about, there's going to be some stats following exactly those types of sales.
Right on.
And it's going to be pretty cool. Our second good thing about BNPLs, though, is very interestingly, it actually can help your credit out.
Okay. Oh, really?
So if you have payments that last over 6 months, you can, it is considered recurring payments.
Yeah.
And that will be recognized by your credit report.
Okay.
And if you're able to go and make your payments on time and you're not missing anything at all, everything is good, that can actually help your credit score without actually making large loans of any kind.
That's nice. And that's why they call it internet bills and the hydro bills or electric bills for the U.S. viewers. They say you can actually use that as a support to your credit.
Yeah, my cell phone payments is literally something that helps my credit score.
There's another one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just something that I see on my credit score all the time. It's not affecting it by any means here, but it helps it out.
Yep.
And our last thing here, because I usually have 4 points to every segment, but I could only really dig out 3 in this case here.
Sure.
It could be done. The process is actually done ridiculously quick.
Okay.
And if you decide to go through the authentication and the actual deep dive research for that, like search for them, you can be able to qualify for a lot more later on. And people have said it's actually easier to qualify compared to if you decide to get a new credit card or anything like that. Like the process takes seconds to go and get approved.
Well, I think credit cards it's it's a checking account, you know, that could be used. Whereas this
Yes.
here is, okay, we know exactly what the product is, we know exactly what the plan is.
Yep.
Do you accept? Yes or no? So I can see how it is simpler.
If you're looking for like be eligible for higher amounts, they will do a soft pull, like they call it, a soft credit check.
Yeah.
It won't affect your credit score by any means here, but if you have a good standing, you'd be eligible for higher amounts. So it's a little bit of a bonus there.
Yeah, true.
But that's basically summarizing the good side of BNPLs. From now on, I'll just try and say BNPL. But
Sure.
we're going to talk about the bad sides now.
Here we go. Let's get it.
We're only 15 minutes into the episode here, and only 5 of that was literally talking about the good side of thing.
Yeah. Now let's dig into the real stuff. Let's go.
So their second segment is obviously about the bad side of BNPLs. Mm-hmm. And the first thing, and it's the most obvious thing, they're used primarily towards things that we want and not things that we need.
True. Yes.
The vast majority of things that are purchased online are actually primarily clothing. 47% of items that are purchased online using BNPL is clothing.
Whoa.
Which is quite ridiculous, because I could probably guarantee you, if you're using a payment plan and you're buying online, more than likely you're not purchasing a piece of clothing from Walmart. You're probably buying some high-end clothing.
Yeah, Versace, or as my friend likes to say, Versace.
Oh, Lord. They're not your friend.
If they say Versace, they're not your friend.
Yeah. I'm not even a fan of Versace here. But I'm gonna step up to the plate for this one here.
Yeah. Well, I'm a good old GT boutique kind of guy, or Mountain Ridge. You know, for me, it's Walmart and Giant Tiger as much as possible. You know,
yeah,
because they offer good options. You know,
you like to side with Mark Zuckerberg or Steve Jobs on the clothing attire there.
Yeah, plain white tees. Well, black tees usually.
Yeah, exactly. Now you're just missing the turtleneck.
Yeah. Give it time. Just give it time.
Now, the second bad thing we're going to talk about here, the payment plans. So if you're someone who likes to purchase online and you're using these payment plans, it can be quite difficult to track.
True.
Versus let's say, unless you have, if you have a software in place or you have something in place to go and try and sort all this out,
yeah,
it can be a big pain to miss them. And we're going to talk about actually our third bad point to this here.
Well, before we go into the third bad point, I got a question. How is it paid back? Is it directly through a bank account? Is that what they require?
Yes, it is. Yeah,
okay.
It is.
Gotcha.
So in this case here, it's really good to be able to go and, it's direct payment there. But if you miss a payment or you're not able to make the payment, or you're just not aware that the bill is going to be paid, things are going to get surprised. It's going to get pretty dicey. So
and if you can't afford it and you go into it, you know, I may be stealing the point from you, but there's a risk of overdraft fees.
Oh yeah, actually, I did. Oh, I'm not talking about that at all. So you got an extra point that I don't even have on here.
Woo!
But I'm gonna go and say this one hilarious. My girlfriend used to have I guess she still technically has a side business for making soaps and making different types of products.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, honestly. But at the same time, she also wanted to go and place crystals inside of these. I don't know if it was candles or soaps or whatever that she was planning on using.
Bath bombs, I bet.
It could very well be bath bombs. But she was looking at these crystals, and there was one crystal she was looking at. It was just $1 a crystal.
Okay.
And a firm had a payment plan that was like $1, or you could have 4 payments of 25 cents if you want.
You're kidding. Oh my goodness, that is the most ridiculous one I've heard.
And my girlfriend's like, listen, if I really have to put down a payment plan for these crystals, I should probably not be on this website to begin with.
My goodness.
I think
can't
it's
believe
just
that.
I think it's just something that's automatic. It just goes for any product. But
Yeah, it calculates for you. Because by the time she ships it, there'd be shipping costs and things like that. They'd add that to the total order.
But how much is shipping going to be? $200
Well,
for a
my
$1
guess is
crystal? Maybe $5.
$1 crystal
$10?
plus tax, and then $10 shipping at most. So it's like $11 financed, you know. Ask a friend at that point.
Yeah, like borrow the money at that point there. Like it's not worth it. But the interesting thing, we were talking about purchasing more on the previous segments.
Mm-hmm.
This is another stat actually about Affirm. I'm sure you've heard of Affirm. If you've heard Affirm as a BNPL.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Affirm.
Yeah. So Affirm has claimed to suppliers or to vendors that you can get up to 85% more sales. Or sorry, you can get up to 85% higher transactions with BNPLs.
Interesting. So up to 85 is they probably have an example that they got 85% more. They're like, there you go. Hey, look at that.
It'd be interesting to see the average, but I could guarantee you that it's more than likely higher. Like I would say at least 10, 15, 20% higher.
Yeah, that makes more sense. That would meet my expectations, you know.
But it shows you right there that people are willing to access it. Exactly circling back to our first stat, one of our first stats about people purchasing things out of their budget.
I'm shaking my head to the audio
to
listeners.
the listeners. And kind of sort of to conclude the bad side of BNPLs here.
Mm-hmm.
And this one is actually going to be really interesting. This is actually according to Cardify.ai.
Okay.
People have actually increased their spending between 10% and 40% more with these BNPLs.
Whoa. So they work. They
They
work.
most definitely do.
They make consumers be even more consumer.
Well, it's literally exactly like what we're saying about the car payments. Back in the day, it was you're buying a car outright back in the day, buying a car outright or monthly payments. Well, then it turned into weekly, bi-weekly payments, and now it's weekly payments. Only $120 a week. And it's like, okay, well, that's $480 a month without your insurance, without your gas, without any maintenance, without anything at all. Is that really worth it? Well, congrats. You got yourself the Audi R8 that you wanted there, but now you're paying through the roof for it.
Well, they're using the basic principle of SMART goals, which make the payment seem attainable and realistic.
Yeah.
And $20 a week, I can do $20 a week. You know, that's no problem. I can figure that out. And by doing that, they're able to get you to commit to a much larger goal, or in this case, revenue for them.
Well, I don't have this written down, but I see so many of I was looking at so many reports by them saying, these BNPL saying, we're trying to make it so we're trying to be the good guys here by limiting the amount of spending that people can do, or there's rules that we put into place so people get less indebted. It's like, hold on. You're making people less indebted with your payment plans? That doesn't make sense.
Probably less indebted than they could be.
Well, in reality, they're in the business for making people in debt.
Yeah. What are you doing? Closing down your doors?
Yeah. Okay, guess what, everyone? 0% interest payments for everyone here. There's no going to be payment. There's no payment plans. You don't have to worry. We're not here in the business of paying back. We're not in the to profit off of you. We're here to give you money here.
Yeah, just give it away. Which actually, I'm interested about the ones that say that are 0% interest. Is it true that they are?
Well, I guess we could talk. We could talk about the third segment here.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm jumping the gun. You tell me.
No. This is going to be interesting because this is actually our first point of our third segment
of the ugly
sides of BNPLs.
Yeah.
And buy now, pay later systems have two specific formats. It's either interest rate or late fees.
Oh.
So the ones that have 0% interest on them have a late fee that you have to pay. And they can be big. So things like Affirm have a 36% interest rate. So that's almost double of what a credit card is.
My goodness.
It is pretty rough.
And people are doing it to avoid getting credit card debt?
Yeah. And I think honestly what people treat it as is extra credit in reality.
Yeah. That seems like a more realistic option. Or they're using it to not use their credit card because their credit card's already maxed out.
Yeah. I got to talk about PayPal. PayPal also has one. PayPal is actually one of the biggest ones because PayPal also offers a BNPL now.
Okay.
It's just under 25%. It's 24.74%.
Okay. I mean,
it's still more than a credit card unless you're getting a high-risk credit card.
Yeah, true.
And
fair enough.
The worst one, I'm not going to go and deface them, but I find it's rough. Afterpay. Afterpay has a 0% interest rate, but it has up to 25% of purchase price late fee.
Whoa. Okay.
So let's say you purchased a $100 item.
Yeah.
For any of these systems, you have to put 25% down on the item that you're purchasing.
Oh, is that true? Okay.
Yes. Most of them you have to put 25% down.
Okay.
But what ends up happening is you end up missing, you put $25 of that $100. You end up missing the first payment. You can be paying up to $25 just in late fees.
Wow.
So that's not going towards your principal. That's towards the Afterpay's pockets.
Yeah. It's just a fee. And then you got to still make the payment.
Yes.
My goodness.
And another stat to add to this one here, because the ugly side is filled with stats at the moment. I don't know why this is the stat that they took out, but 15% of Australians who use buy now, pay later have had to take out a loan to pay off.
Oh, no. What was that percentage?
15%.
My goodness. So, look, to me, if you have to take out a loan to pay that off, that equals failure in my mind. And if you tell me there's a 15% chance of you failing to pay, that's scary. That's very scary to me.
It is. It very much is. And it kind of sort of shows you how they prey on people who are a little bit less financially savvy.
Yeah, not as disciplined, things like that.
Exactly.
Which, speaking of not as financially savvy and disciplined, I want to bring up the quote of the day. It'll sound like a stretch, but I'll wrap it all up together, okay? You'll remember who
we are going to take someone who is not financially savvy or disciplined as a person we're supposed to look up to this week.
No, I swear. I'm going to tie it all together. It's going to make sense.
Okay.
You remember our quotey of the week?
Of course. Who's
our quotey of the week?
Vince Van Gogh.
Vince McMahon, the WWE owner, chairman, and his quote, one of his famous quotes is, "Life sucks, and then you die." Now I have a reason to say this. Okay. A more eloquent way of saying that might be something like Bill Gates, where he says, "Life isn't fair. Get used to it." Right? That's a more digestible way of doing it.
He said it a little bit more aggressive or a more WWE fashion way.
Exactly. He was putting on a show, right? But there's some truth to it. Which is to say, life isn't fair, get used to it, in the sense that, you might start in a disadvantaged position, but you can still work your way up with discipline, with being financially savvy.
Yes.
You can work yourself up to a little bit better position. And if you keep doing that classic 1% of a day brings you up 365 in a year, and that keeps compounding.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Which is to say that you can do something about your position, even if you're starting in a disadvantaged position.
Definitely.
And that's the quote of the day.
You know what, Will? You really wrapped that up very well. I like
Thank
the way
you.
you did it, especially considering that like if you just said it just as it is there, I'd be like, what the heck?
Yeah. That's why I would consider
Moving on here.
to our fourth segment. No, actually, you just say, anyways, we're proud to present to you the College of Wealth podcast. Remember to
You know what?
leave a like,
We're
I
wrapping
guess.
up the show. We're wrapping up the show here, people. We're done. No more Will. No more.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, my name is Owen Paradis, and thank you for watching the College of Wealth podcast.
Poor Will. But no, it's a good way of wrapping it up here. But circling back to the ugly sides of BNPLs, I liked it. BNPLs are fairly new.
Yeah.
And since it's a new market, it is extremely unregulated.
True. Yep.
So there's so much, there's very few laws in regards to them. There's very little about what the government can do about it. There's very little things that people can do to protect themselves against them. Now, I'm not demonizing BNPLs completely, but would you like to have a bank that's financially backed by X, Y, Z, by the government, by literally everyone? Or would you like to would you like money from that company that was backed, or that company from California that just started 2-3 years ago?
Yeah, true.
That's not really backed by anyone other than its own investors that probably are looking to make money in return themselves.
Yeah, well, there's reputation, and good point on the regulation, because 25% of purchase price for every time that you're late. Assuming let's say you have, I don't know, 30 payments, I'm just throwing out a number.
Yeah.
If you miss 10% of those payments, that's 75% that you had to pay.
Oh, yeah.
And that 75%, like when we're talking about a credit card at 20%, that's on an annualized rate.
Yeah.
It's not, you don't pay it for a month and you get a 20% interest increase. No, that's not the case. But this one, if it's a 25% late fee, that's 25%. And if you take that annualized, man, that could be very scary.
It adds up really, really quickly. You don't want to be making the minimum payment or anything like that. There's no such thing as a minimum payment. You're paying the quarter of what you're supposed to be paying to begin with here.
Yeah, it's pay now or suffer later.
That works too. And our last point to this segment here, it's also another stat. 34% of BNPL customers have fallen behind on payments. This is according to Credit Karma.
Whoa.
So 1 in 3 people fall behind on credit, not on credit card payments, but on buy now, pay later payments.
That is, man, that is scary. That is scary. That's
It
enough
is.
to convince me not to try it out.
It's dangerous if you don't
Yeah.
know how to use your money properly.
My goodness.
And that's exactly it. And this is off of Credit Karma, so you know that it's a reputable source to begin with here.
Yeah, for sure.
And it shows you the money that has to be made. There's so many of them that you can. I saw maybe 10 different BNPLs that you can look up, and apparently there's like 60 different kinds that you can look at.
If everyone's getting in on the game, money's being made somewhere.
Exactly. They're not just giving away money for free. They're there to take your money.
There must be some people who just charge a percentage to the company. So, like, let's say I go to Home Depot and I says, hey, I have a BNPL company. I just want a 1 or 2% equal to like Visa or MasterCard fees.
Yeah.
And you say, and I'll finance it. I'll take over that whole portion, that whole financial portion.
Yeah.
There must be something like that.
I don't know logistics on the business side. I'm not going to go and say something that I'm not educated on there.
If there isn't,
But-
Owen, I got a business pitch for you.
Okay.
Well, I just made it.
Oh, my Lord.
We skip 1 or 2% of every transaction.
I'm sure that it's something that they use for sure.
And then we
I agree.
offer it at 0% interest rate or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And now that we spoke about, that's an awesome way to go and just wrap up the ugly side of things. There's a lot of
Yes, please.
dirty work going on
Yeah.
I would almost say it's not the same as the cash money type of stores, like, or the payday advance. They're not as bad as that, but they're definitely not as clean as banks or anything like that.
They're in a similar realm, let's call it.
Yeah, they're on this. They're pretty close to the playground that the payday advance schemes, or not schemes, but businesses are around there.
And they're probably targeting a similar customer base.
Yes. Oh, very much so. They're targeting exactly financially vulnerable people.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember Cash Money, or at least one of them. I don't know if that was them, but there was a promotion. They're like, "You have $20 on you? Give me $20. I'll give you $100."
Yes, I do remember that too.
That was their promotion, and then I'm there. I'm like, yeah. And then there's just a little bit of paperwork you got to sign, bureaucracy. You got to take care of just a little bit of paperwork.
Just a little bit, a tiny little bit there.
I don't know about that.
But and it kind of sort of brings us to our last segment, and how to use BNPLs correctly.
Yes, please.
Because they're not, as much as we've been demonizing them, they're not all bad. When I say you can use them correctly to your advantage.
Well, you know what? I look forward to hearing how to do it, because right now I don't want to use the service at all.
No, for sure. Actually, oddly enough, I ended up using one when I did a trip originally to Cuba.
Oh,
now, to the people who, I was supposed to do a trip before COVID happened there.
Yeah.
Cuba is a really common place for Canadians to go travel to.
Sure. Yep.
But it wasn't four payments. I think it was 2 or 3 payments. And it was really interesting because it was with the travel agency itself.
Okay.
And I basically just paid it off, as long as I paid everything by the time before the trip started, I was perfectly fine.
And was it by bank account?
Yes. Yeah. I literally just called them up and say, "Hey, I want to go and put $500 on the payment," and then the agency would go and say, "Yeah, no problem. We'll go and process that," and then they'd take out $500. Done deal.
So you just wait for you to call and.
Yeah, that's literally it was kind of weird in that way, but I was able to pay it off. It's all right, I'll put 50% down at first, and it was around Christmas time, so it worked out nicely in that way. But I was managing my money smart. I paid it off. I paid it off well before my trip was happening. I think I had the whole trip paid off 6 months before the trip was going on there.
Which we see that a lot with vacations, BNPLs. Which actually
Yes.
that might be another good episode idea. How to do a spring getaway.
No, yeah, it's true. But our first point to this here is, like I said, use it like a tool.
Yeah, okay.
Use it if you are good with your money, use it to leverage your credit score.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an awesome way to go and pay it off or whatever. But do not use it as a way to go and buy yourself more expensive things.
Yeah, I think the good rule of thumb is you want to buy something that's a want, not a need. You say, "Can you buy 10?" No, I don't need to buy 10. But could you buy 10?
Mm.
Yes, I could. Okay, go ahead. Give it a whirl,
Yeah. Yeah,
but you're right.
And I have to add, if you're looking to boost your credit score by any means here, put it on your credit card. If you're good with your money, you have cash back. These BNPLs don't have cash back. They don't have benefits or anything like that. You're going to go and buy yourself a trip or something like that. Well, your credit card, maybe your credit card has incentives free travel insurance or free, or just a lot of different incentives that a BNPL won't have.
Well, I remember for myself, I had something similar. It was I think it was for an Xbox controller, extended warranty, because of buying through a credit card, right?
Yeah.
The company that I bought from, it was go screw yourself. You can buy another one. Here's a link if you want to buy another one. And there I'm like, let's see what my credit card has to say about this. Fill out a little bit of paperwork. Full refund. Perfect. Back in business.
You just told them off.
Well, yeah. I guess they went back to him or something like that. I don't know what's going on.
Who knows? But you got your money back, which is good.
Well, it's an extra benefit of my credit card. It was to extend the warranty up to a year.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah. No.
The other thing I need to add, and this is our second point. Actually, it's actually you're talking about retailers and stuff like that. You're talking about your Xbox controller. Mm-hmm. Well, Microsoft is a trusted retailer. Mm-hmm. If you're planning on doing payments or anything like that, use a trusted retailer. Don't use it on something like an actual store front, like something big. So if there is something that does end up going wrong or awry, you could just contact them and say like, hey, what's going on? Or you could go and speak to customer support instead of having to go through 1,001 hoops to try and reach someone. It's a big pain to go and deal with stuff like that.
Yeah, you call customer service and you hear woo 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 dogs barking in the back. You're like, is the dog in the office? What's going on?
You're just there. Hold on. Jimmy, get off the video games. You gotta do your homework.
Yeah. And then it's like, get your butt down here. Hello, sir. I'll have to put you on hold. I'm going to talk to my manager. Pushes the wrong button. And then he says, Mom, what's for dinner?
and you just hear ocean, and then finally just elevator music going.
Sorry, there seems to be an issue with your phone line there, sir. What mine? It's you. It's clearly you.
So no, it's go with a trusted retailer. You don't know what the heck you're gonna go through with that kind of stuff. You're totally right with that kind of. You'd be surprised the type of crap you would end up seeing, or in this case, hearing. when you're dealing with maybe not so trusted people.
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm not saying go and distrust small businesses or anything like that. I'm not saying to shy away from them. Just if you're to go and deal with gray money or type of money, you probably want to go, let's say, the safe way.
Yeah. Especially if you're already having troubles purchasing the item.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Our third point to this here is to save yourself from missed payments, have auto pay on. Yes. And try and avoid missed payments. Like I said, for me, I didn't miss any payments or anything like that, so they didn't technically benefit from me.
Yeah.
They didn't really benefit.
They got the sale. They didn't benefit from the financing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So for me, it was like, all right, I'm fine with that. I didn't pay anything extra. There was actually no interest or extra fees for me fees to do this payment method. So it was a bonus for me. But if you have auto pay on, or you plan on scheduling everything ahead of time, then you don't have to worry. Just how you plan everything out.
Yeah, makes sense.
Last but not least, this is our final point here to how to use BNPLs correctly. If you are someone who is not really good at managing your money and it's just you're not 100% sure on how what your maximum is, and you know that your credit card might not be in the best situation, or your credit card might be maxed out, so you really want that item, don't buy it. Just don't. Do not use a BNPL.
Thank you, Owen.
You weren't sure where I was going to go with this one here.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, what's going on? And don't buy is a pretty good action. No action sometimes is the best course of action.
Yes, exactly. You're going to be thanking yourself later financially for not buying those things.
Yeah.
47% of people buying clothes. It's totally fine to be buying clothes, but if you're having to finance clothes, are you really able? Are you sure you should be buying that type of clothes?
Yeah, exactly.
Financing clothes, for crying out loud.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing in today's world, I find, in this crazy money-making world. It's people have such a big gap between their means and their expenses.
Yes,
it's crazy.
It is wild. And
Yeah.
so if you are in that financial constraint that you don't think you'd be able to pay it off, or it's just you are trying to limit your buying, don't use any of these softwares. But if you're financially savvy, you're good with your finances, and you don't think you're good at making payments, then go for it.
Yeah, but like you said, if it's gonna cost you zero, but you also net zero, maybe you can get 1% with your credit card.
Yeah, yeah. You'll get something back.
Yeah.
So
point.
tread lightly with this kind of stuff. It's not free money.
Yeah, that's right.
So with that being said, that is episode 127. Buy now, pay later, how you can benefit from BNPLs.
Right on, man. I'm really happy about this episode.
Good.
Very interesting, and everyone sees it online, and I always have limited knowledge about it, but now I actually have an idea.
A little bit more of what goes on.
Yeah, how it works, So right on, great app, Owen.
I'm glad you like it. So with that being said, everyone, my name is Owen Paradis. I'm here with my co-host, Goulet, and we're proud to present you the College of Wealth podcast. Peace.
Two fingers, peace.
This has been your daily dose of motivation with the College of Wealth podcast. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to leave us a positive review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It would be greatly appreciated. Thank you for listening, and until next episode.